Hello, this is me after editing the video. I just wanted to nip in and say that I don't usually make videos like this, so obviously the editing in this video isn't particularly fantastic, but I just really wanted to get my thoughts across because I adore the music and I wanted to talk about it. So apologies if the filming could be better, but hopefully you'll stay to listen to what I have to say. Thank you. With the recent release of the Thérèse music video by Hawke, I fell down a bit of a rabbit hole trying to understand all of the themes and messages of the song. When I first saw the music video was going to be X-rated and I saw the promotional images released before its premiere, I was a bit shocked. The song itself I hadn't particularly thought about. The most I knew was that it was about a painting at the Met, which made sense because I knew Maya grew up in New York. Other than passively listening to it and maybe adding it to a playlist or two, I never stopped to question the lyrics or the messages behind them. After I heard about the music video, my attitude changed. I was more than puzzled that what I previously perceived to be a charming and tame song about an old oil painting was being accompanied by what appeared to be an extremely dark and adult video. This was especially surprising when I reflected on the other music videos she had released in the past, all of which were, for lack of a better word, cute, and had an extremely charming and homemade feel to them. To Love a Boy and Generous Heart being some of my favourite music videos of all time. Then the music video was released and my intrigue spiked. So after writing a short essay in the comments of the video, I decided to expand upon my thoughts in a video essay after encouraging words of fellow commenters. And well, because it's 39 degrees here in London and I have nothing better to do with my time. The painting. Before we can begin to understand the song, we must first take a look back at the painting, Thérèse Dreaming by Balthus. Thérèse Dreaming is an oil painting currently held in the Metropolitan Museum of Art, New York City. It depicts a young girl, legs apart, staring vacantly off into space, allowing the viewer to catch sight of her underwear. It is safe to say the painting has garnered some criticism over the years after its creation in 1938. Balthus himself was all too aware of the criticism he would receive for such provocative collection of work, and even stated, "Balthus is a painter of whom nothing is known. Now let us look at the pictures. Regards, B." In regards to a retrospective at the Tate. This certainly suggests that he didn't want his art to be speculated about, but rather admired simply as beautiful and not as a statement or political manifesto. In other words, they should be seen and not read about. Ironic. He went on to describe his work as not erotic, but that it recognised the discomforting facts of children's sexuality, of which was questioned quite widely after the publication of a New Yorker article in September 2013. The open discussion of the sexual themes of Balthus's work sparked public outrage at its continued exhibition at the Met, and even garnered a petition for its removal with over 11,000 signatures. It would also be important to note that this isn't even Balthus's most explicit depiction of prepubescent girls, see Guitar Lesson. The discourse then evolved into a discussion surrounding the censorship of art, and after the initial outrage, the argument was dropped by the Met and the painting still hangs there to this day. The statement the Met issued surrounding the event summarised their commitment to the allowance of creative expression, and an opportunity for conversation, for reflecting on both the past and present, and encouraging the continuing evolution of existing culture through informed discussion. Now that you have a bit of an insight into the history of the painting, we can now start to discuss the song. Section 2. Blue Hippo. Maya Hawke has an impressive discography and musical following. With the release of her debut album, Blush, in 2020, and her two singles predating that, To Love a Boy and Stay Open, she has garnered over 800,000 monthly listeners as of July 2022. Before we discuss Thérèse, her most recent single, it should be noted that this is not the first time that Maya has written about Thérèse Dreaming in her music. In 2021, she released her first single, after Blush, Blue Hippo. The title of the song is a reference to the infamous Blue Hippo statue at the Met, nicknamed William, who has become a sort of unofficial mascot of the museum. He is a small ancient Egyptian faience who has become another subject of Hawke's writing. The figure would have been placed in a tomb in ancient times to guarantee the rebirth of the deceased. The song can be interpreted in a number of ways, but personally I read it as a love letter of sorts to childhood, possibly addressing her mother as the unnamed she referred to cryptically throughout the song. Goodbye Rocket Ship is written for her father, so it would be sensible to suggest that Blue Hippo is about her mother. In this song, I interpret the use of the hippo as a symbol for childhood curiosity and fondness. The song as a whole is very light in tone and heavily plays into the idea that Maya is adapting songs from her teenage years and using her music as a medium to reflect upon her childhood. She often references how she is the problem child and uses a lot of imagery to suggest her unruliness and tendency for her mind to wander, and the blue hippo is a symbol of the relationship between the speaker and the parental figure, a token of affection. This doesn't explain the connection between Blue Hippo and Thérèse dreaming, however. This comes in the music video. Section 3. The video. The music video for Blue Hippo takes the lyrical narrative in another direction. Within it, Maya takes on the role of Thérèse. This is reflected through her outfit in the set, which is very truthfully adapted from the background of the painting. The narrative of the video heavily revolves around this idea, Maya even writing a letter addressed from Thérèse and asking the male character to meet her at 105th Avenue, otherwise known as the Met. At her introduction, she poses as Thérèse does, as the camera passes through the frame of the picture and allows it to come to life, interacting with an enthralled onlooker. The video appears to take a different approach story-wise to the lyrics, perhaps to mask the meaning of the song and make it appear a more classic romantic love story, rather than a reflection upon childhood. It is possible I'm misinterpreting one part or another, but I believe that most of songs have dual meanings, and that all songs can be interpreted in innumerable ways. What's interesting about this is how she frames herself as Thérèse. After understanding the history of the picture, this choice is an odd one, as the decision to frame herself in such a controversial painting is making a statement, one that's at odds with the nature of Blue Hippo in its tone and message. This brings us to her most recent single, Thérèse. Section 4. Thérèse. Circling back round to the start of the video, the blatant sexuality both implicitly and explicitly depicted in Thérèse dreaming is undeniably problematic. The interest into the public outrage and its continued exhibition is captured within the song. She writes,
"White kitten in the corner, obscene, it really says it all. Milk matches her underwear, get her down, take her off the wall."
This very obviously references the controversy. The chorus,
"It's tactless, it's a test, it's just a rest, it's just a rest,"
is possibly reflecting the disparity between Balthus's view of the painting and how the painting is viewed in modern times. The image is testing the viewer in an uncensored and provocative way, in order to incite a response from them. The song continues to reference childhood memories, perhaps exploring the idea that women and girls are sexualized in early childhood before they're able to properly explore their own sexual independence, free from the expectations and ill intent of others. This, accompanying the previously perceived childish lyrics, some of which include reference to the adults, which make the narrator out to seem more childish, and the themes of Hawke's, and by extension Thérèse's, childhood, provide an experience similar to that of the painting in modern times. An exploration of the taboo around sex, and the depiction of it in relation to young people within art. I later discovered that Thérèse is written from the perspective of 15-year-old Hawke, which only confirms the suspicion I had of the younger narrator and the song's relation to the sexualization of youth. Now that I've discussed the lyrics, I must continue on to the video. Section 5. The X rating. Now, when viewed with the music video alongside, the messages behind the lyrics are only amplified. What I find interesting is that the video mainly takes inspiration from Kohei Yoshiyuki's The Park photograph collection, also on display at the Met. An interesting nod to this would be the media Hawke and Corbett used to capture the video, 35mm film. Instead of opting for digital, they make a conscious effort to capture the same authenticity the original images possess, by using the same media as the artist. The use of flash throughout the video also replicates Yoshiyuki's, and the muted colour palette is a clear nod to his use of infrared film. The subject of Yoshiyuki's photo sequence is that of a number of orgies taking place in various parks throughout Tokyo. He was making a statement about the line between participant and onlooker, and would take candid shots of couples at night to capture the full extent of the scene. This adds to the statement Hawke is making about sexuality viewed through a public lens, and how the private sexuality of individuals is somewhat marred by the societal norms and expectations of it. The final nod to the messages presented in the song, it could be argued, is the depiction of women bound at the end of the video. Their tied hands is a more explicit representation of the subjugation of women within the sexual sphere, and a reminder of the inspiration behind the song and the focus of Balthus's painting. This takes the original concept and the audience reaction to it, and provides a personal reflection upon it, stripping the painting down and using it as a tool for a more introspective exploration of modern girlhood and the sexualization of AFAB people from a young age. Epilogue. Thank you. That concludes my take on Thérèse and Maya Hawke's music, and hopefully provided some semblance of an explanation as to what was going on, as a few people online seemed confused as to the meaning behind it all. I'm not forcing anyone to agree with me, and I'm not making any wild claims about my ability to understand media. I was frankly just bored, and I love watching video essays and thought it would be fun to make. I also really love Maya's music, especially the way she tells stories through it. I love how many hidden messages and themes there are behind her lyrics, which I could spend ages talking about, but I'll stop myself here in case I bore you to death. I'm not going to ask you to like or subscribe because I'll probably never do this again, but if you would like to discuss any of it in the comments, I'd be delighted to chat. Once again, thank you so much for watching.